before we jump into gameplay, I think it is time for a rant.
Just a small one.
Just a baby rant about Baldur's Gate 3. Just a little baby one. I have some good things to say this time as well, unlike last time we did a rant.
Yeah.
So, while we jump into my discussion of Baldur's Gate 3. So, for those of you on stream, and also those of you on YouTube, Baldur's Gate 3 is not a game we have been playing on stream. Viking and I decided that we were going to keep this one to ourselves because we're very, very excited about it. We're very excited about it. We're going to keep it to ourselves. However, we may not finish it. Or I may not finish it. Viking may continue to grind it off without me, but...
Which I will be doing. Yeah.
Oh well. We're just going to see this in the background rather than you seeing my cool character, who is cool. I love my character. I love my character. And I think that brings us like into the first part of it. The character creation, the amount of different directions you can take characters in Baldur's Gate 3 is really, really cool. It's really good. I like it a lot. Very much a positive on this game. The only thing I will say on it, and I will come back to this as like, it's pulling that down because otherwise I'm getting like two different sounds. Like the only thing I will say on this is that if you are not familiar with D&D, and I'll come back to this as kind of my last point. Yes, I have notes. It's not very intuitive to know where you want to go with it and what kind of thing will suit your gameplay style. It can be a little bit opaque in that, and there's definitely an assumed level of D&D knowledge going in. I'm quite lucky because Viking is a D&D connoisseur. He is a bit of a forever DM, and he is able to bring me up to speed and talk me through it. But I
am indeed.
I personally have never played D&D, so there is that. I think the next like positive thing I have to say about it is the story. Like the story is really interesting. It's really cool. We're still only in Act 1. We've been going quite slowly and exploring as much as we can, but I'm enjoying the plot that we're following and like the general kind of quest line that sits over the top of it. I mean, I don't know about you, Viking. What do you think about the story so far?
I mean, the story so far is really intriguing to me. It has pulled me in a little bit, but granted, I've also played the beta, which I think kind of helped me because I've already talked with most of the NPCs.
That's fair.
I don't feel like I have to talk to everyone, but I do feel like if I did want to talk to everyone, I would be able to, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, I think the only thing I will say on that, though, is like the kind of cutaways and dialogues can feel a bit drawn out and prolonged, and I completely get that this game is supposed to be very much about the story and taking it as if it was a D&D campaign and down that route, but I can sometimes find that a bit frustrating and slow-paced.
Yeah.
Personal for me, and I think a lot of people really love it, and I've seen a lot of clips of like really funny moments, and I've seen really funny moments myself as we've been playing it. But I'm finding it a bit slow and have to kind of stop myself from skipping through it too much.
We did run into an issue that we were skipping through because we had died 3 times, and we accidentally attacked the person we were trying to help, and it was a cluster.
Yeah, there's been a couple of instances of that where there's been options to attack in the menu, and if you're going quite quickly to get through stuff that you've already done because you died, you end up then murdering somebody. And that can be quite frustrating. I think, you know, it would be better even if they just changed the color of those ones, like in the dialogue menu, so that they were just a bit more obvious. I could see that being an easy way to solve that kind of accidental murder that has happened on more than one occasion.
Yep.
And I think that pacing, like, my problem with the pacing also goes over into the general gameplay. Admittedly, again, I'm not someone who really enjoys, like, turn-based games. I can find them, again, quite slow and frustrating, but I am finding that the combat and the pace of the combat, particularly if you are in a scenario where there's a lot of enemies, is really slow. It's really slow, and I find it frustrating, and I'm just constantly being like, come on, just, can we get on with it already? Particularly in a couple of instances where we've, like, come immediately out of a portal or a waypoint and immediately landed into a battle, which we didn't want to be in.
Massive fight. Like, not even talking about, like, a battle of, like, oh yeah, we ran into, like, 3 or 4 band. No, we came out of I think they're actually waypoints. We came out of a waypoint and just immediate combat in an entire village type thing situation where everyone knew where we were too. It was just so weird. Like, I don't think it was meant to be that way.
No, I think it was unlucky in the way that we did it, but it does feel like it's happened a couple of times, and it's just annoying. It's just annoying me at this point. Generally as well in the gameplay, like, I don't love point and click as a movement style. Even after doing all of the Diablo games and getting very used to that, I find it clunky and difficult to manage. I much prefer the WASD stuff. But again, these, like, all of my criticisms of Baldur's Gate 3 are very much personal preference and personal playstyle. Like, I think it's an incredible game.
Yeah.
I just have personal gripes with it that mean that it doesn't suit my way of playing. And so I think if you are somebody who is similar to me in the way you play things, then you might find it difficult, might find it clunky, might find it slow paced. But there's a whole wide range of people in this world, and I think that a lot of people are very justified in their absolute love of this game.
Yeah. Like, I absolutely love it. I do. I find some things to be super annoying, but I love things in it more than the annoyances.
I think that's fair. I mean, like, other things I'm finding a little bit clunky and difficult. Things like the store and the items system, finding just generally a little bit clunky and annoying. The inventory and not knowing what's a better item for you very easily, you know, particularly with armor. You know, stuff like that. I could see there being some things in it to just make it a little bit easier, and I think that would help with some of my general difficulty playing.
Yeah.
And, you know, again, like, going back to the combat, like, I understand that this is all very much closeness to D&D, and the general...
It's not even closest, it's just, it is D&D.
Yeah, which, again, like, I think that comes down to this thing of, like, if you're playing Baldur's Gate 3 as someone who has played and loves playing D&D, there's so much great stuff in there. If you are new to D&D, have never played D&D before, but wanted to play it as a game, you're gonna find some of those things frustrating. That's just my feeling on it.
Yeah.
And, like, that's kind of the last point I have written down on here, which is around the lore and D&D, woven throughout it. If you are a newbie to D&D, it's incredibly complex and incredibly complicated to know what's going to work well for you. And yes, that helps the replayability because you're going to try out different things. But for your first playthrough, it can be a bit of a turn-off to not really know what anything really means or how it weaves together. That assumed level of knowledge, in my opinion, is a bit high.
It is a little bit high. I will also admit that in the culture of Dungeons and Dragons, there tends to be a lot of, oh, I'm going to play this character for like 5 minutes and see how it goes,
Yeah.
and then build another one and then see how that goes and which one I enjoy more, type of thing, which you can tell is kind of prevalent because they did put a lot of effort into the character creator.
Yeah, and which I think is great. I think that's maybe me again, is I tend to like just make one character and run with it. And these are all just like play style things, which,
Yeah.
you know, as I say, it's a great game. This is, you know, I introduced this as a rant, but it's not really a rant in the same way that my rant about Diablo 4 was a rant. This is more of just like the things I'm not enjoying about Baldur's Gate and the things I am enjoying about Baldur's Gate, which, you know, there is a lot of good stuff in there. Another thing which I'm not really enjoying and finding frustrating, and I would think that you would find this frustrating as well, as someone who is like a bit of a loot goblin and a lore goblin and wanting to find out everything about stuff. The choice-based way of doing things can mean that you miss stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely built for multiple playthroughs.
Yeah.
And because of that, if you only play one character, then you're going to miss things regardless of what choices you actually choose.
Yeah.
Which does frustrate me.
It's super exciting that there's so many different paths you can find your way through and so many different ways you can play it. But like, that does rely on you having the mental acuity and staying power in my little ADHD brain to stay playing the same game for so long, which sometimes I just don't. And I'm sure, you know, I am certain that I will return to Baldur's Gate 3. We will play all the way through, again, off stream. Sorry, this one's ours. But also, like, you know, we want it with the full nudity turned on, and you can't do that on stream, so...
Yeah.
There's that too. And, you know, I'm enjoying bits and pieces. I'm in the middle of romancing Shadowheart and all that jazz, though nobody wanted to fuck Viking, which I find fucking hilarious. He was so evil that nobody likes him.
Yeah, I'm playing the Dark Urge, so the only one that actually likes me is Astarion.
Which is fun. Though everybody fucking loves Astarion. He's like, there's loads of people cosplaying him and stuff now.
Yeah.
But yeah, we thought we'd start this stream out with a little bit of a chat about what we liked about Baldur's Gate, what we didn't like about Baldur's Gate. I've covered everything I've written down. Is there anything else you'd like to weigh in on your opinions about Baldur's Gate 3?
I think that even though we've played roughly, I want to say, 7 hours of the game, we haven't even touched the game.
Oh, like, yeah, we're so early in. So early.
We are not far at all.
And that's a big caveat to, like, everything we're saying here, is we are still, like, probably 2/3 of the way through Act 1, I would say.
Yeah, like, we're not at the end of the beta. we're not even at the end of that. We're not even near the end of Act 1. We're not even near the middle, I would say. Like, we are going slow.
Part of that is the pacing.
The pacing of that is really a majority of that, but also the combat system and the fact that the combat system itself is not really that intuitive because it's based off of a grid system, which I enjoy, but it is not an easy system to learn, which is kind of interesting. However, on the flip side of that, I believe that, you know, if and when I get through it, I will eventually show off my character in all of his glory, because I got an amazingly, like, rare chance roll thing on my stats, and I'm surprised it even worked out to how it is.
I mean, like, I'm gonna keep trying, but I just won't lie, like, last time we played it was, I want to say Tuesday.
Yeah,
earlier in the week, we played it off stream, and after about an hour or so, I was about ready to punch something because I was getting so frustrated with things, and it just became unfun at that point. So I need to put it down for a little bit, and then I will come back, and we will continue, and we will keep going through the story, because as we started this not rant off with, the story is great.
It is. The story is great. Honestly, what they've done with the world building as well to make like flesh out Faerun is amazing. But it is difficult to digest at the beginning if you're not already a person that enjoys digesting Dungeons and Dragons stuff.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
However,
yeah.
We also now have this amazing other game that we're playing that we've been playing for quite a while that you all would definitely enjoy.
What?
It's Necron, baby.
I was like, is he taking this to ESO or like where are we going with this? But yeah,
no, it's absolutely Necron.
But yeah, I just wanted to just take a moment to give my thoughts on where we are, hear Viking's thoughts a little bit, and yeah, that's where we're at. I wish I could have shown you my character without trying to faff around. I should have worked that out before stream. But we want to hear your thoughts too, and this is the shameless YouTube plug. This is going on YouTube, so make sure you subscribe, comment, all that jazz. Very much appreciated. And yeah, that's it. We're going back to stream now.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that is how I'm feeling about Baldur's Gate 3 so far. It's a really great game, but I do just find it doesn't really fit with my playstyle very well. But I'll be sure to let you know if this changes as Viking and I continue to play through it over the next few months, get further into the different acts, and see if we get more to love it as we get used to the way it works. I do know this is a very popular game right now and a lot of you really love it, so don't hesitate to let me know what you think below. I'm excited to hear your opinions, the good, the bad, the indifferent. Let me know what you think. And as always, I hope you're having a glorious day, looking after yourselves, and I'll see you all in the next one.